Welcome to Navigating Love and Immigration. I'm your host, Megan Pastrana. Falling in love is exciting. Maintaining a healthy relationship takes work. And when you're going through an immigration process, you are faced with unique challenges. This podcast is for anyone in a cross-cultural relationship who finds themselves lost in the labyrinth of U.S. immigration. We will interview relationship experts, explore the stories of real couples, and provide important tips on starting the next chapter of your lives together. Welcome to this week's episode of Navigating Love and Immigration. I am very excited for our guest today. I've had lots of questions from current clients and prospective clients and followers of the podcast and our social media channels about, hey, I got my visa, I have my fiancé visa, I have my spouse visa, or I helped my parents obtain their green card. What do I do about insurance? Health insurance is so important. So I have someone here today who is an expert with 20 plus years of experience, Ryan Kennelly. He's a senior benefits insurance consultant, and he has really found this unique niche in helping individuals in this specific situation understand what are your options, what are your next steps. So Ryan, thank you so much for being here with us today. I really appreciate your time, and we'll just dive right into the topic, how I found you. You had this article about health insurance for fiancé visa recipients. And that's one of the biggest questions I get from fiancé visas. So thank you so much for being here. And I'll turn the mic over to you. What should an individual who has just received their fiancé visa, what options do they have? What steps should they take to obtain health insurance?
No, thanks for having me. That's a great question. They have multiple options. And so, like we talked about before this, there's not one size fits all. So whether you're married, engaged, coming over on a work visa, spouse visa, you've got a lot of options, and not a lot of people know about all the options. One of them is called the international travel policy that's designed for people temporarily coming here to the United States, whether it's 12 months or 36 months. Those are options. There's other options with even the marketplace. People think, oh, I am not a citizen, I can't get a plan through the marketplace. Well, you actually can. You can't get a subsidy, but you can qualify to pay the full amount. They don't require citizenship to get a plan through the marketplace. There's also plans called short-term plans, which is a little deceiving, but a lot of states will offer those for up to 36 months, and they're relatively inexpensive, and you essentially just have to answer a few questions, qualify, and you're insured, the next day. So those are some of the most popular options. Since COVID's kind of winded down here, we're seeing a huge increase in just the amount of people interested in asking. And I found out through, you and other people that, there's not a lot of information out there. And so we've become kind of a niche agency that does, deals with a lot of these questions and complicated issues. And it's really not that complicated. There's just a lot of information to absorb. And, I think of myself going to another country, where would I start? And I'd probably Google and figure it out from there. And if I didn't find information, I don't know, where I would start. So that's kind of the starting point of, where to go.
Okay. So the travel is temporary visitor coverage, you said, and then there's short-term plans and the marketplace. I think that's really interesting. I know a lot of people are afraid to get on the marketplace because in immigration, you want to be really careful that you're not taking government benefits for which you're not eligible. So I know a lot of immigrants were afraid of even looking at the marketplace and accidentally getting a subsidy. So that was interesting to learn from you that that's an option, to consider.
Yeah. And there's a fear for that. And so what I recommend for people that are looking at the marketplace is if you go to the healthcare.gov or go to the marketplace, you can go to our site, find a plan you want, and then let's say, it's Blue Cross of your state. You can go to the Blue Cross website directly and apply for that plan through the insurance company and not through the marketplace, so that you're kind of avoiding that, that step, getting sucked into some black hole or, tied to sharing information you don't want to. And, a lot of times people might accidentally answer a question wrong because those questions can be confusing and hard to understand. And all of a sudden it'll say, please report to, this local agency or, call Medicaid or whatever, and they know they don't qualify, but you have to physically call or go in sometimes to get out of these black holes. So if you do that route and you apply for a plan, just go directly to the insurance company and
Mhm.
apply for that plan. But you can use the marketplace to shop because those same plans are available directly through the insurance companies.
Okay. Oh, yeah, that's a really, really good piece of advice because you're right. For individuals, they're starting a whole nother chapter in a whole nother country, oftentimes in a new language. And then, they have their US citizen spouse to help too, but for them, this is all new, having to try to obtain health insurance for someone who's in this, for lack of a better word to describe it, limbo is how you feel sometimes when you're in this fiance visa phase of the process. So that's really great advice, to use the marketplace as a place to just look at the options, but then go through, an insurance, through that insurance company, or use the services of someone, like you, to help be a guide, because it sounds like a lot like immigration, a lot of black holes. You answer one question unwittingly or innocently thinking that, this is the right answer, and then it causes issues and then you're stuck. So that's really great advice. And so for and I know we were talking earlier and it's state by state, but a lot of times spouses, before they become spouses, they bring their fiance, they have this fiance visa, they get married, and then they want to add their now spouse to their health insurance plan at work. And sometimes they found that they can't. So are you able to kind of give like a 30,000-foot view of, if, why
Yeah,
that might happen and what they can do next?
yeah. So some states, or if your company is like 20 employees or smaller in many states, um, that is subject to different rules than if your company is larger than 20 or over 50 employees. So I'm from Illinois, I'm here in Chicago. So if you're a company that has less than 20 total employees, small company, mom and pop shop, by law, they have to add you to the plan within 30 days of the actual wedding date. As a large employer, they have the option of making in the rules when they want. So they could say spouses aren't allowed in the plan when they get married, or ever, or only during open enrollment at this time. And usually the latter is whenever the open enrollment is, and usually it's starts in December and the plan starts January 1st. Usually that's the window when you can add your spouse, because most large companies just have that window. One, because it makes it easier for their HR people, and two, it just allows them to have an easier system, especially a large company with 40 different locations, 40 states. They're not going to kind of make exceptions. So that's kind of the advice I'd recommend there. And that's where these
Mhm.
short-term plans, or international plans, may come in to fill in those gaps, or the marketplace. Once you're married, and if your spouse is on a marketplace plan, you can be added to their plan, but only if you've had insurance in the last 60 days. So that's another kind of thing to be wary of, is that just because you're married and your wife or husband is on the marketplace, you still need to have prior coverage if you're outside of the open enrollment period, which starts in November and December 15th, and the plan starts January 1st. So
Okay.
um, those are a lot of dates. I know it's confusing, but it's the same every year. November 1st is the first day you can enroll. December 15th is the last day you can enroll, and the plans start January 1st.
Okay. All right. And so that's exactly where I hear couples kind of get stuck, as they get married, and then that open enrollment period, a lot of times it's probably that larger company then, and they're like, oh, well, I'm not able to add, even though we're married, I can't add my spouse. And so we have this period of time, be it whatever, 4 6 months. And so you're saying that really it's kind of the same steps or the same options as when the person came on a fiance visa. Start looking at some of that short-term coverage, look at marketplace, bridge that gap until you have open enrollment at your company to add your spouse. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I think it's so important too, that we're talking here about insurance, but I want to mention too, for the listeners, I know a lot of couples, they have to prove their relationship to immigration and prove that it's real. immigration is looking at you combining and your finances and combining your life. And a lot of times they'll have questions about, well, why don't you have this joint insurance? So I know couples are worried, oh my gosh, I can't get my spouse on the plan, but uh, it's really important, also to show to immigration, to have this insurance. So it's just the way it is, the way it's set up. There's not going to be a way to get around it. So you can have that combined evidence of your joint health insurance. You need to bridge that gap and then be able to add your spouse later. Is it the same? So for couples who are going through the spouse visa process, they're going to get married. Their spouse will come to the United States as a green card holder. Is it a similar set of steps, or what should they be aware of for spouse visas?
It's actually the same steps. I mean, if you're talking about the employer part, it's actually going to be the same unless there is a specific exclusion. It's going to be very specific that says, we don't allow this exact type of spouse visa until this date. And the only time that really comes into play is like unions, like big teacher unions might have rules like that, where they're just very old and grandfathered in. But 90% of the policies or the rules for that will apply the same way as before. They'll wait for open enrollment, or if they, not everyone has the same open enrollment dates for their company. Some people have December 1st or July 1st, or it could be any month of the year. Most companies are January 1st because they like to start the plan year with a deductible. But we do a lot of group insurance, and I would say every month we have, about 10% of our book is each month, and it really isn't January 1st anymore like it used to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've heard a lot of couples mention that they have all different start dates. And so then that kind of, I've noticed like that they'll have a 4-month gap or however long until we're able to get that green card and get them to, or get them on another plan, like you're saying. The other situation that we have individuals asking about is once an individual becomes a United States citizen, something they often like to do is be able to petition for their parents and bring their parents with a green card. And a lot of times that decision is based on the fact that their parents are, older and they've moved here to the United States with their spouse. They want to bring their parents so their parents can be here, the family unit, and they can take care of them. Parents enter the United States, they have this green card, and then, they find, hey, I'm not eligible for Medicare. So that's, we were talking about that earlier. They're not going to immediately be eligible for Medicare. So what are options for seniors, for people who brought their parents, they have a green card? How can we make sure they get that needed coverage?
It's a great question. It comes up a lot. So senior, I mean, even if they're over 65 and they're not eligible for Medicare, they are eligible for the marketplace. We had someone enroll through a marketplace plan last month, 90 years old, and the rate was not cheap. It was almost $1,800 a month, but it was legal. They could get the plan, and there's no pre-existing conditions. So that's option one. Another option is they have those international plans for seniors that are designed exactly for those exact situations. A lot of them don't have pre-existing conditions, or they might have like a 6-month waiting period before you have a surgery or something like that, just so they can avoid people coming over, getting some type of surgery, and then leaving. But those are really good options as well, and probably more cost effective than a marketplace plan at the full rate, depending on what state you're in. If you're in a state-based exchange like California, Colorado, Virginia's moving into their own state-based exchange this year. Unfortunately, they have different rules now than the marketplace. So I think there's going to be 13 states now that have their own state-based exchanges. The good thing about those states is they actually have, I would say, more relaxed rules for immigrants and immigration laws. So like Colorado is a good example, or California. They will allow you to, jump on and off plans based on your situation or just moving. Whereas, the marketplace may not allow that if you're in a healthcare.gov state. So depending on where you end up, if you are in one of the state-based exchange states, which essentially is, there's too many to count now, but Washington, California, Colorado, we're the big, and Nevada now. And then East Coast, it's, New York, Massachusetts, Connecticut, and I guess those are the main ones. And then in Virginia this year is, being added to that. So.
But that's good to hear that they have a little bit more, support or options, I guess, for immigrants. I mean, that's really helpful. Yeah, I really, really appreciate your time here today. And even though you're in Chicago, you can help anybody regardless, right, of where they live in the United States.
That's correct. So I'm licensed in 46 states. So the only states I can't help people in is Hawaii, Idaho, New Hampshire, and Connecticut.
Okay. Okay. But
So
everywhere else, yeah.
But even though I'm not licensed in those states, I can still help. So I don't, discriminate based on whether I'm licensed or not. If I can help or point in the right direction, I'd be happy to. And
Okay.
I hope
Awesome.
provide some help.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you so much. We really, really appreciate your time and answering these questions. This will give a lot of our viewers and listeners tons of support and clarity, because they've already gone through an immigration process and it's like, oh no, not again. I just want to be done. So that will be great to have your guidance. We will post you have a scheduling tool, a scheduling link. So if individuals want to make an appointment with you to get more information, to have you help guide them on all of these nuances and intricacies, we'll put that below so they can schedule. Is there any other social media or contact information that you want viewers to be aware of, things that they should check out?
Yeah, I mean, I can share our LinkedIn page or our Instagram. It's got information on there. But if for people who need help, every case is different. So we have a scheduling tool, and it says, what's your situation, what's your name, tell us about that. Because a lot of times it takes some research. So our goal is to help people, not just help you for 5 seconds and then tell you, good luck. It's kind of to help you through the whole process. So we get some type of, it feels good to help people, that need it. So that's kind of why you and I kind of connected. So thanks for having me. This is
Yeah.
hopefully somewhat helpful.
It's been more than somewhat helpful. This is amazing. I had been looking for a referral or a reference for my clients and not clients, people who are just following our firm and getting clarity on their immigration journey. And you're an amazing resource. I don't know anyone else out there that it's had as much helpful information and guidance. So thank you again. Thank you so much. And thank you for everybody who's listening or watching. Please check out the show notes for that scheduling tool and links to Ryan's social media. And he also has written some great articles. We'll post those links in there as well. Thanks again for watching. Until next time, take care.